Welcome to the MDW training in-depth tutorial. Alright, so the first thing we have is our MDW here. So here we have our MDW. This is the dashboard page. This is part 1. I'm going to go over the aspects of our dashboard. First off, we have the dispatch here. When you get into the city, please write in and hit enter. That way we know that you are in. It'll show your name, your call sign, and that you're in the city. That way if anybody's like off duty or they're 10-7 or something, when they come back they can see who's on duty without having to check our Discord. Mind you, even doing this, still need to clock into the duty clock on Discord. And when you leave the city, please type out so people know you're out. That's the dispatch section. That's what we're using it for currently. Over here in the middle, we have our bulletin board where you'll see new, you'll see things like this, where you'll see our hostage negotiations policy, and you leave an ad for negotiations. I know we're not doing this policy anymore. I'm just showing you an example, okay? Down here on the bottom left is where you'll see warrants. Any active warrants will be listed here. If you right click on the warrant, you can view the incident and it'll take you to the incident. And if you right click and view profile, it'll bring you to that person's profile and you can see everything about them. We'll go over those sections in more depth later. There's also be a quote, fun little quote of the day. This one's: the DOJ is not the enemy, but it's clearly not an ally. This whole section over here, this whole dispatch section, is not being used currently. It's still being worked on by the chief. So for now, just ignore this section. And that concludes the dashboard. Guys, now welcome to part 2, where we'll be going over profiles. Alright. So, what we're going to go over here is everything about a profile. You can search whoever you want. I'm going to look up myself, just simplicity stakes. Alright, so here is my profile. It'll show all the vehicles the person owns, their licenses. If you need to give a license, you right click and hit give license. Stuff. If you need to take a license away, you right click and revoke license. Make sense? Green means they have it, red means they do not have it. That's that section. Vehicles, these are all the vehicles the person owns with all the license plate numbers. And right clicking on it lets you search vehicle, which will bring it up in the DMV roster, which we'll get to later on in the training. Tags, this is where you put, like this one says LSPD. You hit the plus to add a tag. So on and so forth, and then you hit enter. Enter to fully add the tag. Say you are typing something in and then you realize it's the wrong kind of tag and you don't want it. You're going to right click it to remove tag. Properties, this is what are like houses and stuff the person owns. Known convictions, this is where you're going to see previous incident reports and things they've been charged, previous charges. Obviously I have no charges, so that's where you're going to see them. Gallery, this is where you'll see photos that you can upload to the gallery. You just put the URL and it saves it here. This section here where you see this right here, it's actually now changed. It's where you put notes on the person. If you have warnings, if there's medical conditions, anything like that can go here. If you know there are any of their extra affiliations, you can put that here. Now, next to their profile picture, you'll see their social security number, first name, last name, date of birth, what their job is. You know, this mine says police lieutenant because it has been updated on here. You can copy and paste their profile image here. So if we take their picture when you're getting their fingerprint and such, this is where you would put it. And right below that's where you actually put the fingerprints in. You know, you put whatever the fingerprint is. And then you hit save. We'll save everything. All right, so after you hit save, you'll be good to go. That's when you can. That's the end of the how you edit the profile section. All right, welcome to the incident section. Now this is where I'll show you how to write up an incident. First of all, here is put what kind of incident it is. I'm just going to put the most common we've been doing is citations. And then you're going to put a dash. And then make sure you put the person's name that you're doing the citation for. I'm going to use Ice Williams as my example. Okay. You put the location. It goes here. Where did you pull them over? Corner of Strawberry Avenue. Now for the summary, since it is just a citation, you only have to worry about putting, make sure you miles per hour over the speed limit, 70 in a. That's what. Oh. There you go. You put something like that. There really isn't, for a citation, you don't have to worry about evidence. Okay. For a plead, you don't have to worry about any of this either. This is what I'll show this in another. I'll do a second incident where when we put all this in. Okay. You do that. Okay. So criminals involved. Hit the plus sign. You're gonna search the person's name. All right. So you have him now here. Now you're going to right click here and hit add charge. Okay. You're going to type in speeding, first degree. Say you, for some reason, accidentally click all three. If you right click on the charges you don't want to do, it deletes them. Okay. Then hit escape to go back to this menu. Alright, so now you'll see after we backed out of that, you'll get to where it shows speeding first degree 10 to 20. Recommended fine is 500. Recommended sentence is 0. You can change the fine to what it should be. So 500. Also, over here, what I do suggest is you take a picture of the vehicle. And you can upload that in evidence. Okay. Civilians involved, if there was any civilian witnesses or anything like that, you can put them there. Officers involved. Okay, whenever you put your officer in, please put their badge number in parentheses. If I can learn to type. First initial, last name. Just like that. Enter. Always use this format whenever you're talking about officers involved, okay? Now for the tags, I would just put speeding as the tag for that. Alright, and then, now this is important. A lot of times if you try to do the fine and sentence while standing next to them, it won't always find them in their vehicle. You have to have them get out of their car, and then you can click find and sentence, and it'll find them. Make sure you hit save, and then you'll see the report pop up over here on the left over here, okay? All right, so then let's create another incident so I can show you one where we actually like sentence them to jail. So hit the plus sign to create a new incident. Now we're just going to say shooting. Or you don't, we'll just say it's the 1080. 1080 with Ice Williams. Okay. So the location, we'll say it's Maze Bank, where you finally stopped them. Now this is where you would write the report. Attempted to pull over Mr. Williams. Causing pursuit for 10 stopped outside Maze Bank Arena. Okay, that's just a basic example. He attempted to pull over Mr. Williams for speeding, and he took off, causing a pursuit. And after approximately 10 minutes, he was stopped outside of Maze Bank Arena. And I know I can't spell. Hold on. There we go. Now, evidence list. You list all the evidence you took off of him. So, well, after you search him, you say you find a pistol. Make sure you put the kind of pistol, because say it's a 50 cal pistol. One thing I'm going to suggest, after the dash, please put the serial number for said pistol. Okay? That way, when we go back to the evidence locker, if we need to search for it, we can find it. Okay? So we'll just put the... So we're just going to say that's the serial number, okay? And ammo times 10. Something like that. Make sure you also take pictures of the evidence and you upload it right down here at the bottom under evidence. Okay. Also make sure again you do the criminal involved. So we have all this here. So for this one, since you originally were pulling him over speeding, you're gonna add charge and do speeding again. We'll say it was first degree, and then he was evading. So that's felony evading with the vehicle. We'll take that one. Okay. These are just kind of the basic charges. Alright, and when we're back here, you'll see now the recommended fine is $2,530 months. Do the fine. And put whatever you think the month should be. If he's been cooperative and stuff, you can always cut it down. But I'm just showing it's the same. Now over here, you have the evidence here. Civilians involved if he rammed any civilian vehicles or anything like that. Officers involved. Make sure you put the your badge number, first initial, last name. And since, today is probably second officer, so I would put you put every officer that was involved. Okay. Now you're going to go back up to here while you're talking to the gentleman, or talking to the criminal that was involved. Is plead, right? You're going to put his name, which is Ice Williams. And you say what his plead was, guilty, non-guilty, whatever, so on and so forth, okay? So we say he pleaded guilty, we put guilty in there. Okay. All right. Say you need to look at what's behind, you know, the MDW covers up your screen, and you need to see what's on the other side. If you take your mouse and bring it up here, you can actually see what's behind you. So if you need to see a license plate or get a license plate number, stuff like that, you can see what's going on, and then just drag it back down and brings it back fully in. All right. So once you get to this point, make sure you save. Okay, because you'll see it up here. Make sure you're standing next to the criminal, like at the bars, and he's at the bars. Okay? Make sure there's no officers next to you. Make sure they're backed away. And then hit fine and sentence. Okay? That'll fine him, and it'll send him to Bolingbroke. If you're too close to an officer, it might accidentally send that officer. That's why I say make sure you're close to the criminal only. Okay? Really quick, something I did forget to add to the incidents, and I do apologize, is right here. When they plead guilty, make sure you click and make guilty green. When you're done processing them, make sure you click processed. Okay? And if you have to put a warrant out for their arrest, you're gonna click on the warrant, it'll make a warrant. Then save it. That way when you go back to the dashboard, actually if you close out the MDW completely and go back in, you'll see the warrant will show up here. And then you could view, view the incident and such. And that would be pretty much it for incidents. I showed you the two kind of types we would show here. Yeah. We'll move on to the next section. All right. Welcome to the next part where we're going to talk about reports. So, I know reports. I need to go more in detail about this. Okay. So, we're going to hit new for a new report. We're going to say a vehicle was stolen, okay? Stolen vehicle. Please do not write report afterward. It automatically puts report after the title, okay? And right here, you're going to say it's obviously the type of report, the type of report, this is going to be a stolen vehicle report. You do not need to write report because it automatically puts it on the end. Sorry, I know I said that for the title, but if you look over the left side, see it says carjacking, that's the title. On the right where it says type, it says, like, I messed up. I wrote incident report, and it said report again. You only have to put, like, incident or traffic collision or, like, the stolen vehicle. Okay. So you put civilians involved. I'm just going to say it's ICE again. Enter. Officers involved. Make sure you still. Badge number. First initial. Last name. Always do your officers like this, please. Always. So for the report, say car stolen. License plate number. And then you put the license plate number there, okay? We'll show later how to get to the DMV and how you can access all that and stuff, okay? Any pictures you might have of the vehicle, you can put here in the gallery. You can tag it with stolen vehicle. And then you hit save. And you'll see it over here. See, stolen vehicle report. That's pretty much it for reports. Let's get on to the next thing. Alright guys, the next section is going to be BOLOs. Now you remember back in reports how we reported that vehicle stolen. So we put stolen vehicle. Okay. You're going to put the plate number here. Make sure it's exactly what the plate number is. You put the owner's name. Okay. All right. After we put the owner's name, we don't know who stole the vehicle. If he does know who stole the vehicle, you can put their name here. Details. Vehicle was stolen from Legion Square of Bank. You can put that there. Any pictures of the vehicle you would put here in the gallery. Again, officers involved. Make sure you do your badge number, first initial, last name, enter, and then hit save. Okay, and then it'll show up here. Okay. So bolos are fairly simple. The rest, anything else for bolo after you fill this out, you do in the DMV section, which we'll get to shortly. Next, we have the roster. This is just the same roster that's on the website and everything. All right. All right. So the next section we have is the DMV section. Now, I know I was using this license plate, but it doesn't actually exist. So if a vehicle is, not owned by anybody, you won't see anything here. If the vehicle is owned by a company or a business, it won't show up here either. But if there are 4 letters in the front, you will not see, it won't be owned by, it'll be a company vehicle. Some people do have custom plates, like I have, this is one of mine. Okay. So say you click at it, you see how it says BOLO. It means there's a BOLO out for it. The impound button does not work. Just ignore that vehicle. So if we remove that, so since there is a BOLO on my car here in the BOLO section, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, right here. See general BOLO for hit and run. The plate was stitch 1. So now that means it'll show up that the vehicle has a BOLO on it. This marks it as a code 5, which means, felony stop. And say somebody steals said vehicle, you'd right click here and mark it as stolen. Or if it gets recovered, you can remove that. Okay. Up here you have your vehicle info. You'll see the plate name, who owns the vehicle, the type of vehicle it is, the make and model. And if you take a picture of the vehicle, you could put the image URL right here. It'll save it, and then you click save. It'll save it with the photo so we know what it looks like. Any notes about the vehicle you can put here, like what was used in bank robbery, that kind of thing. And then you just hit save. And then if you want to double check to make sure everything's saved, you just research it. You'll see BOLO and code 5, owner Stitch Johnson right here. That's pretty much all it is for the vehicle info. Staff logs, that's only for like high command, so you really don't need to worry about that. Penal code. This is our penal code. You can find the citations, impound fees, if you're supposed to suspend the driver's license or not. If you suspend the weapons license, boating license, pilot license, all that kind of stuff. And then it also, legal parking, all the different violations for it, Any information you have, any of our citations are going to be listed here. That's going to conclude this MDW training. I hope everything was good for you and you understood what I was talking about. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any of command or high command. They'll feel free to answer anything you have for you. You can send me a message if it's something you don't understand about the training. Until then, have a good day.